DATV, and the Greater Dayton Area League of Women Voters present Meet the Candidates.
Hello, I'm Beth Schaefer, member of the League of Women Voters of the Greater Dayton area. I am here today with candidates running for the Judge of the Court of Common Pleas Domestic Relations Division. There are two candidates, Jacqueline Gaines and Jennifer Petrella. We will start our interviews by giving the candidates 1 minute to tell us about themselves and why they want to serve as Judge of the Common Pleas Domestic Relations Court. So we will start with Jacqueline.
Good morning. Hello, Ms. Schaefer. Thank you, League of Women Voters, for this opportunity to share with you a little bit about myself and why I'm running. My name is Magistrate Jacqueline Gaines, and I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a member of Freedom Hill Bible Church with Reverend Dr. Terry Hill as the pastor. For the past 19 years, I've lived and worked here in Montgomery County. My first 6 years of practice was with two private law firms. And for the past 13 years, I've had the pleasure of serving as a full-time magistrate with the Domestic Relations Court. I'm running for the open seat that's being vacated by Judge Denise Cross. And I'm running because Montgomery County deserves judges that are caring, have deep knowledge of the law, and will apply it fairly and equitably. And it's such a pleasure to be running. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, Jennifer, it'll be your opportunity to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to serve as Judge of the Common Pleas Court Domestic Relations.
Okay, thank you again for having us here today. I know that I am honored for just running for this position. As you said, my name is Jennifer Petrella, and I have been working in the court system for over 27 years. The first 18 years of my experience was with juvenile court, and I started as a part-time law clerk and worked my way all the way up to being a director of court services, managing over 40 staff. I was then invited by Judge Cross to come and serve as the court administrator at the Domestic Relations Court. I too am sworn in as a magistrate and hear cases. So I not only am bringing to the position the opportunity to hear cases and know how a courtroom runs, I know how the actual court itself runs. And because of this experience, I feel very capable, and I am proud to be able to serve in this next step as Judge of the Domestic Relations Court.
Okay, thank you both. I will ask each candidate the same questions. You will have 2 minutes to speak to each question, and then I will move on to the next candidate and give them 2 minutes to respond. The first question is, describe your experience that qualifies you to be a domestic relations court judge. And we will start with Jennifer on this question.
Okay, thank you. This is a great opportunity for me to tell you and all of the voters why I am the best candidate. You see, not only do I hear cases as a magistrate, I cover the actual judge's dockets. Sometimes in a pinch, in an emergency, I'll get a text on the way into work and being told, hey, we need you to step in and take care of the mass docket of dissolution and non-contested divorces. I do this with ease. I also have a regular weekly docket of domestic violence cases, and this is something I'm extremely passionate about. So much so that I work regularly on the process and making sure that parties have true access to our court. That comes with the hat of court administrator. I am looking at the process, making sure that the public knows how to access our services as well as they are educated on those services. I work hand in hand with attorneys to make sure that they also are getting their needs met by a knowledgeable and confident and competent working staff. Most importantly, though, I work hand in hand with the judges every single day on court operations. Most people don't realize all of the administrative work that a judge has to do. That's why there are so many magistrates in our court. They do take care of many of the cases, but they are insulated and do not normally have the exposure to the administrative world of running a budget that is funded by taxpayer dollars. We have the obligation to go out and seek federal funding and grants in order to supplement those dollars. We also have to be responsive to security, education, and even public relations. I do this as a court administrator. Thank you.
Thank you. Jacqueline?
Yes, thank you for the question. I am a full-time magistrate in the Domestic Relations Court. I've worked for the court for 13 years in this capacity. I hear over 1,000 cases per year. And it's important to take a step back and really delve into what the Domestic Relations Court does. It's a service, it's not a business. The position that's open right now is that of a judge who will hear and decide cases. And I've been doing that in a junior capacity as a magistrate full-time for 13 years. Domestic Relations Court decides how a marriage will end. Divorces, legal separations, annulments, and even dating violence and domestic violence civil protection orders. People come to the Domestic Relations Court because they have a problem that they're looking to the court to solve. And so they need people who are compassionate listeners and who know how to apply the law fairly. I am an immediate past chairperson of the Domestic Relations Committee for the Dayton Bar Association. I've taught family law at the University of Dayton School of Law. I also have written a publication that's been cited by such law schools as Fordham, Columbia, and the University of Virginia. I regularly teach CLEs about domestic violence and also about domestic relations, including for the Bar Association, and the federal courts have asked me to also present on a power presentation about how more attorneys can be involved in helping people with domestic violence protection orders. So I come with a deep legal knowledge and personal knowledge as a wife and a mother and a stepmother as well.
Thank you. The next question is, among judges, who would you identify as a member or a role model and why? So actually, we're going to start with you, Jacqueline.
Yes, so I find that Judge Denise Cross is an outstanding role model. I had the opportunity to admire her from afar when I was in private practice. We were both members of the Thurgood Marshall Law Society here in Dayton, Ohio, which is the African American Bar Association here in Dayton. And then 13 years ago, she and Judge Wood hired me to be one of their full-time magistrates. So I've worked for Judge Cross for 13 years. I admire Judge Cross because she's firm and she's fair, and she treats everyone with the same firmness and fairness. You know what you're going to get when you talk to Judge Cross and when you have a case in front of Judge Cross. She's very thorough, and she's always accessible to people when they have questions. I admire her deep community service. She's involved with Girl Scouts as well as with her church and in other capacities in the community. So that is the judge that I pattern myself after. I always try to be very thorough. Even when I rule against someone, I always make sure that my written decisions are written in plain English and fully explain what the legal issues were and why they won, why they lost, and what the next steps are. I am also very deeply involved with the community. Especially, I'm involved with issues involving educating our youth about the court system and about the legal processes. I'm passionate about having underrepresented people enter the legal profession, and that's why I'm a mentor at the University of Dayton School of Law. I also teach at my alma mater, Indiana University School of Law. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the question for you, Jennifer, is the same. Among the judges, who would you identify as a mentor or a role model, and why?
I am going to have to echo what Jacqueline said. I have also worked with Judge Cross for over 14 years. She actually hired me at juvenile court to be her law clerk, and I worked hand in hand with her even as a part-time law clerk on special projects. She exposed me to innovative and unique ideas such as child protection mediation, the first drug court. The other thing that also inspires me about Judge Cross is the fact that she's always trying to grow people. She wants you to do the very best in every role that you have, and she will educate you and she will stand with you and try and bring you along. What is most telling to me is that she was one of the first people who came to me 4 years ago and asked me to consider running for judge and even to consider running for her position. She has worked beside me. She knows that I'm dependable, that I'm at the will of the court 24/7. Now I know that that means a lot of demands, but that she is never asking anyone to give more than she does. Additionally, she truly cares about the people who work under her. I too have a great care and concern for my colleagues. We try to take very good care of each other because we know that the difficult work we must face on a daily basis demands that we are ready and prepared and our best people. I think the other reason I appreciate Judge Cross is because she has been this exceptional leader, holding herself high in character. She is a wonderful woman, friend, and I think that she truly cares and has purpose in her life, not only from what she does outside the court, as well as what she does inside. I too find that purpose drawing me to this position.
Okay, thank you. I guess the last question here for both of you is, describe your approach to handling the types of cases that come before the domestic relations court. And this time, Jennifer, we will start with you.
So, in my role as a part-time magistrate and a court administrator, I have to look at all aspects of how parties are accessing the court. We have an obligation to be accessible to our entire community. That may mean that we have interpreters ready to go when we have our hearings. It may mean that we have staff who can help others navigate the process. That's all of part of the procedural justice that we must provide. I also have to realize that I have to be prepared. I have to know what's coming up on my docket. And if it's a nuance, a special type of issue that hasn't come before us before, I need to do my research. Not only look at the law, but also at the regular case law that comes before our courts every day. Has this new issue been something that's already has some decisions? Is there precedence that is weighing here in the balance? And then there's finally the most important part. I have to run the courtroom. I have to make sure that the people before me I actually have the jurisdiction, the authority to rule on them and over their case. I have to be able to control the courtroom as far as what evidence gets in, what testimony is appropriate. And then I just have to be a listener. I have to assure people that I am listening to both sides, that I'm a neutral, and that their case, the most important one in their lives, is just as important to me. I have to give them full consideration and care, and I have to look at the big picture of the impact upon their family. This is how I approach my docket on a regular basis.
Okay, thank you. Jacqueline, describe your approach to handling the types of cases that come before the domestic relations court.
I call the domestic relations court the true people's court because over 40% of marriages in the United States end in divorce. And so the people who come before the domestic relations court, these are our neighbors, these are our colleagues, and sometimes they're our friends. These are everyday people who are in a desperate situation because they built their lives with someone and the relationship is ending. It's the role of the court to fairly and equitably divide the marital property, whether it be retirement, cars, houses, assets, and even debts, and to decide where the children will live. There's issues related to child support, spousal support, parenting time. And so you have to approach these cases with empathy. You have to treat the people that appear in front of you with dignity and respect. And remember that these are the people that you'll see in Kroger's. These are the people that perhaps your children go to school with. And so you want to treat them as you would be treated. I am a mother, and I can only imagine not spending a Christmas with my child or being told that these are the set hours that I can see my child. So whenever I approach a case, I look at it through the eyes of that person who's in front of me. We also have to be cognizant that many people who appear in front of the domestic relations court are self-represented. The Ohio Supreme Court told us that we shouldn't call these people pro se because we shouldn't be speaking Latin to everyday people. So pro se people, self-represented people, need to understand what's happening to them in court. And so that is what I do every day for 13 years, is to make sure that people are treated with dignity and respect. And that's what I'll do as a domestic relations judge.
Thank you. Okay, in closing, we would like to provide each candidate with a minute for a closing statement. And so this time we will start with Jacqueline.
Yes, again, thank you for this opportunity to share a little bit about myself. I am running because I want this court and I want this community to grow and to have strong families and strong community. I admire the work that the juvenile court is doing in terms of being widely accessible and visible in the community. And as judge, I would like to see the domestic relations court be more forward-facing as well. I admire the work that the probate court is doing in addressing the mental health and opioid crisis that is happening here in Montgomery County. As domestic relations judge, I will be working for solutions in those areas as well. I believe that what we're running for right now is judge, not a business administrator, but a judge. And so with my 19 years of courtroom experience, knowing the rules of civil procedure and evidence inside and out, and helping people, and for 13 years as a full-time magistrate, I'm very capable and ready day one to do just that.
Jennifer, it's your opportunity to give us a little closing statement.
Okay, thank you. And again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to so many of you voters, because I know that oftentimes you don't realize everything a court has to handle until you are there in front of the court. And you should be met with experienced, knowledgeable, competent staff, competent, knowledgeable judges. I have a good experience in working in courtrooms as well as working the court. And I also admire the fact that I have worked with some of the best attorneys and served with some of the most wonderful agency representatives for years. I have great connections throughout this community. I am already in the community sharing domestic relation resource information, and I am bringing people information that they need to know when it comes to their family, their children, and their lives. I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you for your participation today. Good luck in your campaigns. The League of Women Voters encourages all candidates to run an issues-oriented campaign. Our goal is to educate the voting public and strengthen our elective political process. Additional questions will be asked of the candidates on Vote 411, which will be available on our website in mid-February. Please note that the last day to register to vote in the primary election is February 20. Early voting for the upcoming primary election begins February 21st at your Board of Elections, or you can request an absentee ballot. I'd also like to remind everyone that the ID requirements for in-person voting have changed. Whether you vote early or vote on Election Day on March 19th, these are the acceptable forms of ID: an unexpired Ohio driver license, an unexpired Ohio State ID card. This is an ID that can be acquired at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles free of charge. An interim identification form issued by the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, a U.S. passport or passport card, a U.S. military ID, Ohio National Guard ID, or a U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs ID card that includes the voter's name and photograph. Remember, your opinion matters, but it only matters if you vote, and it will help make democracy work. If you have questions, feel free to call our league office at 937-228-4041.